Hi everyone, in this video we are going to learn heat map in Excel. Heat maps in Excel are graphical representation that utilize colors to visualize data in a tabular format. They are useful for identifying patterns, trends, and relationships within large data sets. How to use heat map in Excel? To create a heat map in Excel, you typically start with a grid of data values. The intensity of the colors in each cell represents the magnitude of the value, enabling quick and intuitive interpretation of information. Like the way we have in this picture, the grids will make us understand the intensity of the values. Let's move on to our Excel file to understand this better. This is my Excel file with the agent data of a call center, where we have the agent names here, the week numbers, and these are the shifts of the agents. This is just for 3 weeks data that I'm showing here and only for these few agents. But when you look at this data, we don't understand anything from this values. We can just see that these are the shift timings with few weekly offs and planned leaves data here. Imagine you're in a team where the management is now asking you to focus on week 15, 16, and 17 of this year, because every year week 15, 16, and 17 has got the highest call volume. The requirement here is, as per the management observation, 9:30 to 2:30, these shifts are not of a high volume timing, but 3:30 to 6:30 is the timing where employees or agents receive high call volume. Management want us to focus on this four particular shift timing, and these are the weeks which are on the highest focus now. As per the management requirement, very few employees are to be placed in these shifts, and the highest number of employees are to be from this fourth shift. Also, the leaves should be minimum for these 3 weeks, as this is the peak week and they want more agents or employees to be available to take the calls. Here they have mentioned the peak shift details. These are the 4 peak shifts, and these are the 3 weeks which is on high focus for now. The first requirement is that majority of the employees are to be placed in this 4 shift, and few employees should be placed in 5 shifts. Management wants sufficient people to be placed in this 5 shift timing as well, but the high focus is on the last 4 shifts. So if the employees are little less in the first 5 shifts, it's okay, but more employees are to be placed in the last 4 shift. Here in our example, we have 14 employees. It means that more than 7 to 8 employees are to be placed in this 4 shift, and for all the 3 weeks. Also, the leaves should be minimum for these 3 weeks. Imagine that team leader of the team has come up with these shift timings and he has placed these many peoples in different shift timings like this. Looking at the table like this, we won't be able to understand if the team leader has placed the employees correctly, which will meet the management requirement. We have to do some statistical analysis and run few formulas for us to understand if we have the right people for the right shift. In such cases, heat map works like wonder, where we don't have to use any formulas or statistical analysis for us to understand if the right number of employees are placed in the right shifts or not. As per this list, we have the shifts starting from 9:30 and ending at 6:30. When you run the minimum value of this whole range, you have the minimum as 9:30, and when you run the maximum of this whole range, we get the last shift timing, which is 6:30, as our maximum range, which is correct. This is for the shift timing that we have here. Before applying heat map, let's do a random test on this small range of data. I've selected this whole data from minimum to maximum. Go to conditional formatting, color scales, and apply. Here the minimum value is in blue and the maximum value is in red. This is how the color distribution happens, where the first one is little bright blue and then shade reduces and then it becomes little dull and then white and then increases the intensity of the color. This way, using the intensity of the color, we can understand the minimum and the maximum values. This is working perfectly fine on this data. We can use the same for the whole table. Let's use this table. Select the whole table. Click on conditional formatting and go to color scales again. We can select the same color or a different color as per your preference. Let me select this one. And let me also apply the same scale on the sample data. Here the minimum value has the dark green and the maximum value has the dark red. This rule looks better, so let me apply this rule on this whole table. Apply the first rule. Let's see how the first rule works. Here the first rule is minimum value has red color, maximum value has green color, and the intensity reduces and matches across this. Now, even after having the colors like this, the data is not very much clear. We don't know if we have sufficient people who are falling in this particular light green range. And we also have the weekly offs and the plant leaves data here, which is not colored. We want even this color to also be visible, but the conditional formatting color scale has not selected these values. The reason is it's not numeric values. We have to apply the conditional formatting separately on these values. To do that, select the whole range, conditional formatting, and manage rules. We already have one rule applied here. Let me apply the new rule now. Format only the cell that contains or equal to weekly off, and let me fill this with light gray or very light yellow, and the font also to be the same. And next rule is for PLs, which is the leaf, plant leaf. As management has asked us to focus on the leaves as well, so that we don't have too many leaves for that particular week. Let's give a bright color so that the leaf details will be highlighted. I'm giving this color for leaves, and also the font should also be changed. Okay, and apply, and the range has to be applied to the whole table. If it's applied to just one or two range, it won't work on the whole table. So we'll have to make sure that this conditional formatting is applied to the whole range. Everything looks fine now. Apply. Okay. And here we see that these are the weekly offs and these red ones are the leaves. Even after doing all these color changes, we still don't have any clarity on whether we have too many people in this particular shift range or not. Let's just remove all these timing details here. For that, select everything, go to more number formats, customs, and here Instead of the timing, just type colon. Okay. Immediately the numbers are now not visible. We only now have the colors and the numbers are not visible now. Through the color formatting, we see that 1, 2, 3, and 4 agents in week 15 are in this grid, where our expectation is that most of the employees should be placed in this 4 shift. As we have 14 agents in our list, maximum number of employees would be either 7 or 8. So almost 7 or 8 employees are to be in this range, but week 1 did not satisfy that first condition. Let's check the week 2 details here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little better, but still not meeting the target of more than 7. And in the week 17, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and slightly 7. Week 7 is somehow meeting the requirement. It means that week 15 and week 16 shifts had to be reworked upon, and the changes has to be done for week 15 and week 16 to meet the management requirement. This way, using the colors, we could quickly identify whether the planning which was already done here meets the requirement or not. This is for the first requirement of having maximum people in this 4 shift timing, where we see only week 17 met that requirement, but week 15 and week 16 did not meet the management requirement. Let's check out the leave details. In week 15, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 leaves. And week 16, we have 3 leaves. And week 17 also we have 3 leaves. Out of 14 agents, 2 to 3 leave is okay in a week. But here week 15 has too many leaves, and week 15, 16, and 17 being the focus week, there's no scope for high leaves during this week. The team leader has to make the necessary changes to make sure that the management requirement is met, where all these 3 weeks has less people on leave, and the leaves which were approved already has to be adjusted in any other way, and team leaders should make sure that the leaves should not be so much for week 15. Team leaders should place more employees in these last 4 shift timing for week 15 and week 16. If possible, team leaders should also try to accommodate 1 or 2 more agents to work in this shift timing for week 17 as well. It was so easy for us to understand whether the team leader has prepared the scheduling correctly or not for these 3 focus weeks based on the management requirement. Just looking at the colors, it did not take too much time. We did not make any statistical analysis here. This is why heat map is used in most of the companies